Have Peter from Hamelin Gold.
Good morning, everyone, and very much a welcome to those joining us online today as well. Firstly, to Phil and the team, thanks very much for the opportunity to present to you the Hamelin Gold story. So Hamelin's main asset is the West Tanami project located in the Tanami Desert of Western Australia. This is a vastly underexplored Tier 1 gold province and an emerging rare earth province. Last year was our first field exploration year, and we made a high-grade discovery at our Sultan project. But importantly, we've made real inroads into the understanding of the geochemical and structural footprint of these major gold systems. And that's why I want to spend a bit of time on today. So to introduce the company to you, myself, geologist by trade, joined by Justin Osborne on the board, and along with Exploration Director Clayton Davies, we hold some 90 years of mineral exploration experience with a significant amount of time looking for gold in Western Australia. Importantly, Justin was the technical director of Gold Road, and you might remember took an exploration company through to the discovery of a multi-million ounce gold system at Gruyere in the Eastern Goldfields, Far Eastern Goldfields. Took them from a junior to a $1.7 billion company they are today. And we see exploration success in the Tanami replicating that sort of capital growth. Joining us on the board, William and Philip bring strong commercial and legal background, so a well-rounded and very experienced board. Currently a $10 million market cap with $4 million in the bank, so our shareholders are very much exposed to positive exploration results. Two major shareholders, Silver Lake and Goldfields, both respected gold producers in Western Australia, and we really welcome them on the board, on the books from IPO, and a pretty tight capital structure. So we're located up here in the Tanami Desert. We have a real belt scale opportunity here, a 2,500 square kilometre tenement package that sits 100 kilometres west of the giant Cali operation owned by Newmont. Just to give you some background, Newmont, the world's largest gold mining producer, this is their lowest cost gold production anywhere in the world. It's an absolute giant. It's growing it's currently 14 million ounces of gold. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't finish at about 25 million. It's a fantastic position. They're building that for production to go through to 2040. So a real jewel in the crown here. And this is quite an odd scenario. Orogenic gold systems don't tend to have absolute giants and then really nothing else of major significance. What we believe is up there is a lot of unexplored territory, and there should be a number of 5 to 10 million ounce and a string of 2 to 5 million ounce discoveries if this is like any other orogenic gold belt in the world. So this is real elephant country. This is a place where you could find a true multi-million ounce opportunity. So last year we really focused on testing some new ideas. We didn't want to go to this place and do exactly what people have done in the past, which is the essence of insanity. We wanted to look at this as a new belt and new ideas, and we've been focusing on the regolith and the structural understanding of these systems. This year, we believe we're on the cusp of adding some ounces to the books, and that's our absolute priority for 2023. So just to give you an idea of what we mean by underexplored, this is a map showing on the left all drill holes on our project, coloured by depth. On the right-hand side, we see the drill holes that are extended deeper than 100 metres. So we've inherited essentially a two-dimensional exploration database. Lots of shallow drilling, 70% of all holes are less than 10 metres deep. So a thin veneer of exploration has been completed, but in this desert environment, I'll show you that a lot of that is really ineffective for gold exploration. Just to give you an idea of what that top sort of 20 metres of the geology out here looks like, this is a photograph of an open pit at Coyote, which is just to the north of our project. And what we see here is very much a typical profile of the area. Shallow sand cover. This is a sand and soil mix, so very depleted signature. If a gold deposit was sitting underneath this, you might expect to see a very, very weak signature at surface in that soil cover. Underneath that pale white zone is what they call the leach zone. And it's called the leach zone because metals get stripped out of that, including gold. And below that, we have the saprolite, which is where most explorers, gold explorers, would be drilling to. So we've inherited a database which really is only, as I mentioned, 70% of holes less than 10 metres deep. Very much a near-surface drill hole database, which really touch that cover and into that leach zone. So what can we use with this database? We don't want to throw it away. What we did over the last 3 months is really pull apart the multi-element geochemistry of all our recent drilling to see if there's patterns or other elements that we can use to maybe zone in on these big systems. And historically, the rule of thumb up here was arsenic and gold were the two elements that were great pathfinders. And if I can show you the laser, that's the arsenic to gold distribution of samples in our entire database. There's no correlation whatsoever between gold and arsenic directly. What we did see, though, was a very, very strong relationship between bismuth and gold. And what's important here is it tells us two things. One, if you find bismuth, there was gold there. And if you find gold, you're going to have bismuth, obviously. But what's really important about bismuth is it doesn't get stripped out of the profile as quickly as gold does. So what you can end up with is like a skeleton of a gold deposit shown up in bismuth in amongst a low-grade gold footprint. This is going to be a tough one, but I've tried to show this diagrammatically. So if this is what we're looking for the elephants out there, it's not going to look like this. If you weather it and leach it, it's going to look a lot more like this, where you see an outline or a low-grade plume of gold. But what you'll see also is intact high-grade bismuth results and potentially at surface. This might seem like a simple concept, but it's actually a fundamental breakthrough in how we explore, especially for surface outcrops or in residual or thin sand-covered areas. So when we applied this learning to our project, we very rapidly highlighted a series of areas with coherent bismuth and gold anomalism. And two of the areas I'll tell you about is the Sultan area up here to the northwest and the Newkirk area in the central part of the project. So Sultan's a complete virgin discovery. We sit here along a sheared granite contact that extends over 10 kilometres of strike. Only 3 kilometres of that entire belt had actually seen any work. It's near surface soil sampling and very shallow drilling. And just zooming in on that area, using our drill hole as the reference, what we see there is this really ghost-like low-grade gold outline at 5 ppb. That might not seem like a lot, but it's a very coherent anomaly and significantly above background, and the sort of anomaly that you saw above Tropicana in a similar desert terrain. But what's really important is inside there we saw two horizons of strong bismuth anomalism. What we'll call the northern, which is slightly weaker, and the southern anomaly, which was really quite strong. So we decided, this is all the drilling shown here in as sort of grey dots, with the depth of drill hole shown to the right-hand side. So a lot of shallow drilling and one east-west section of deeper RC or RAB drilling. But our first hole, we basically lined the diamond rig up, which was a $150,000 swing of the bat, to try and test this concept, to see if these bismuth horizons were actually ghosts of what was a decent gold deposit, maybe coming up very close to surface. And we wanted to test this Sultan fault position. So our one drill hole started from the north and intersected a low-grade gold system up at the top, a Brexia-hosted bismuth and gold anomaly. But down at depth at 300 metres, we intersected a 7-metre intersection over 3 grams per tonne gold, which included a metre at just under half an ounce, or just over half an ounce gold. Absolutely outstanding success from a drill hole point of view. This is a first hole into a 10-kilometre long structural corridor. But what's important for us is it really validated our understanding of bismuth and gold, and it was the first time we actually proved the link between primary mineralisation at depth and the surface bismuth anomaly. And this structural measurements we took from this drill hole showed that this is the same trend, and it bashed straight into where the high-grade bismuth was. So this has given us real support and real understanding, and potentially a real breakthrough in the understanding of how to use surface geochemistry to screen this extremely large area and to find high-grade primary gold mineralisation. This is an area where I'm going to, for the first time in my career, I'm going to be able to drill something from bottom up. So we actually have no drilling and no information, as we said, up dip, and this is where an RC drill rig will start in the next 4 weeks, testing the up dip position and a long strike immediately from here. And this is also where we think we can add ounces really quickly. So looking elsewhere, 30 kilometres away in the Newkirk area, again, a 1.5 kilometre scale gold anomaly at that same 5 ppb outline. Unfortunately, the bismuth sampling, shown here as coloured dots, stopped in the far northeast of that anomaly. For what reason, I got no idea. Insanity might be one. But right in the northeast corner, we see some of the strongest bismuth anomalism, which remains open to the northeast. So here's an area which has got limited by 4 drill holes that go down to 40 metres. The rest of the drilling is all less than 10 metres. And we've got an open, large-scale gold anomaly with bismuth support. And this is the sort of footprint that we might expect to see over a buried Kali-type system. both in scale. Its geometry and geological architecture is fantastic. It's a folded antiform, a nice big bend in a key structure. The sort of all the elements we'd like to see on a multi-million ounce footprint. So we're very excited about this one, and we hope to be drilling this, aircore drilling this in May. The other major sort of step forward we pushed was the understanding the structural geology of this area. And this is one element of it. It's not what we did, but I thought it was a pretty cool little example of how we're taking a different look at this belt. This is the magnetic image across the entire 100 kilometres, so from top left to bottom right. And this is an area that's undergone post-mineralisation deformation. So the place has been, for want of a better word, the jigsaw has been sort of made by chopping it up into different slithers, and these major west-northwest structures have basically, after mineralisation, have chopped the area up. Well, we basically just put it back together again to see what sort of the geology looked like and the structures looked like as the mineralisation was entered into this, or as the mineralisation event occurred. And what it highlighted was this major north trending fault, which we've now termed the hero fault, and I'll just focus on that. When you slide these blocks back together again, what it looks like when gold was introduced, we see this major gold bearing structure. We know it's pretty live because there's 2 known gold occurrences sitting on that trend. But in the north, you can see this major flexure in this key structure. And that's a little bit of orogenic gold 101. You want to see big bends in big structures. So zooming into that area, we've identified what we've now called the Olsen target, right on that major flexure. And we see a significant splay structure ripping off that at that flexure point. We also have identified 2 bands, 2 parallel gold anomalies, about 2.5 kilometres in strike, at that same 5 ppb outline. What we don't have up here is any bismuth anomalism, or we don't have any assay, sorry. We don't know what the bismuth footprint looks like. But this sort of scale gold anomaly is outstanding, the sort of thing we might like to see over a big system. Drilling has been limited below 10 metres to 10 50 metre deep RAB holes. And again, at the bottom of one of those holes, we sort of got a bit of a sniff that this thing is alive. 4 metres at 0.15 is a pretty good indicator that this thing has got some legs to it. So again, very excited about getting the rig up here and testing this concept. So we've got a busy 6 months ahead of us. We've started our field program. Drilling starts next month, and we'll have both RC, aircore and diamond drilling throughout the field season. We've got an active news flow from that drilling, and very excited to test some of our new ideas and concepts and how to explore in this real unloved and underexplored gold province, which we think has many, many more ounces to deliver. So thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed the talk, and feel free to catch up outside if you've got any other questions. Thank you.